Hey, it's been a minute. Going to do some live streaming today. No, I didn't quit my day job. I took a week off to have some self-care. What I'm doing here is basically drawing and working on my own comic live. Um, I'm doing everything myself, from plotting, writing, penciling, inking, and the ultimate goal is to get a print issue directly from me to you. And as a matter of fact, my patrons of secret agent level will all get a signed copy delivered directly to them when this is all done, hopefully sometime later on this summer. So I set some goals for myself to be done by the end of June on this issue. So we'll see. Let me see here. I got to turn this music off before YouTube bans me. So make sure first thing that you're subscribed to the channel, because that helps encourage me do more of this. You're going to encourage my behavior if you subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and you won't miss anything. And you can always check back. I get a lot of questions from other comic artists, different levels, professional, aspiring, whatever, like what tools are you using. That's probably the first question that all artists get, is like, what tools are you using? So links in the description for all of that stuff. I also put everything that I have on gumroad.com/comics. That's all my brushes that I use here. You'll see me using here in a minute. And I also have all my comic templates. So as I'm adjusting these templates for speed and efficiency, I'm also putting them up in my Gumroad packs. So they're available too, and people seem to like those. So that's it. I'm done talking. Subscribe. I'm going to start jumping in here, get to work. I'll talk a little bit about what's been going on in my life. I haven't been able to stream for a little bit. I haven't even been able to work on comics for a little bit. So here we go. Cheers. Yeah. All right. I'm going to turn this camera around. We're going to get to it. I don't got like fancy camera switching. We're just going to do it like this. We're going to go whoop and point it down. Right like that. So you can see my, all right. Sweet. And yeah. All right. So first I want to do is check out where I am. Let's see. I'm a little bit behind on my schedule that I wanted to do, but I've worked a little bit on the side doing some coloring and catching up with that. Today we'll probably do some more inking on this page. Let me switch this view here. There we go. Today we'll probably ink some of this page. Also inked and colored this page, but I didn't do it live on the stream. I just didn't get time. But let's take a real quick time-lapse replay on this. Kind of see what happened on this page. Well, I did draw most of that on the live stream, but let's get to the coloring here. Yeah. Basic blocking things in, doing some color, but it was really fun to color these ghosts. So, and that page is up on the Patreon now. Let's also see, what else did I work on here? I got a little layout here for an upcoming page, just kind of like a team intro shot. That would be fun to draw. And I was working off of these templates here, and I only had 12 up on my template. So what I decided to do, I wanted to be able to see the whole book kind of visualized with my layouts. So I already had the first, the first 5 pages or so. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the gray here is the inside front cover. This is page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then there's the page you just looked at. Page 6, yeah, page 6, 7. So we're going to get into this and that, but I also did color coding. The green is sort of the beginning, yellow is the middle, and red is the end. This is a 22-page comic strip or comic book. So I'm trying to get most of the story figured out. I'd like these stories to be, one and done issue. Like, you don't need to have issue 2. You can just be satisfied with issue 1 if you want. There's no continuing thing. So if it ends, it ends. But yeah, so I put this template in the Gumroad comic templates if you want it. It's nice for me. Take a look at my goals. This is the OKRs. You can check out the other videos to see a little bit more about this. I'm setting objectives. I have failed. I have failed miserably at my goals this time. So I was supposed to get 2 completed pages done per week, and have a daily cutoff point of 4:30 p.m., which is the hilarious to me. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, because work just gets crazy busy. So, but as I'm talking, I'll get into inking while I'm talking here. So it's not just a stream about me blabbing where I am, but I like to take a look at where I'm at, where I am, and this is where I am. So, and I don't need to turn off the text here. It's not important. I'll just ink these balloons up. Well, yeah, so work got extremely busy, mainly because we hired someone on my team. So I had to do like 8 interviews, eight job interviews, and my hand's a little shaky here. And that took a lot of time. I was also finishing up that Harvard course that I talked about a little bit. And let's go over here, make sure I get my banners on. Gonna go into this, put that on. All right, cool. Yeah, I missed the streams. Oh, I had a root canal on a Wednesday. Usually I would stream Wednesday nights. Yeah, root canal, and that was no fun. So, lots of excuses for why. Good excuses why I haven't been able to draw comics lately. But work being primarily one of them. And I knew that I was working way too much. I accidentally worked a 14-hour day. I say accidentally just because the time escaped me. Before I knew it, I looked up and it was like 7:30. And I was like, oh man, I gotta stop this. It's kind of a catch-22 because I do enjoy my day job, but you know what? My hands are not good for bubbles right now, so I'm gonna wait. Yeah, I enjoy my day job, so it's tough to like turn it off. And then even when I turn it off, lately my wife and I have been joking around about, she talks about her work a lot and I talk about my work a lot, and just helping creators and stuff like that. And I'm excited about hear things or see new things or new partners or new shop owners and stuff at work. I work at spreadshop.com. Not a sponsor. And yeah, so we got to hiring a business development manager for my team. It's a pretty important role. So I really wanted to do all the interviews. We did 8 interviews, and it's an important role, and I wanted to make sure I was focused on that, and I just lost track of time. And then every single night, I swear, maybe this will be inspiring to you know what? I messed this up. I gotta go back. Let's go back to that. Every night that I tried to draw comics, I just was buried in work, or my brain wouldn't shut off, or dentist. It's like I hate going to the dentist. And then I just used it as an excuse to be like, you know what, I'm not drawing tonight. Just felt miserable. But it's okay because I'm lucky I don't have deadlines or anything like that. This is my own book. So, I want to get it done. My wife will tell you I'm just like moping around the house like, oh man, suck. Failing at this. She's like, you're crazy. What are you doing? I'm going to go ahead and turn these balloons off though. And, well, maybe I'm not going to turn those balloons off. Oh, well. We'll get back to that in a minute. But yeah, I guess that's kind of the the update of where I've been for a minute. Now I'm just like, okay, I'm behind on my goals, and that bothers me. And so now I'm going to step it up. I took a week off. That's why I'm here in the middle of a day, not slacking off at work. I took a week off for myself. Nowhere to go really or anything like that. Just chilling out, doing some self-care, taking care of some things around the house. And for me, this is what I like to do. So being here, working on this, I'm even thinking about, every day I'm like, I'm just going to get up like I'm normally getting up for work. And I'm going to put on this stream. I'm going to be streaming at like 6 o'clock in the morning. But no, I've sat on the porch and read a book, had some coffee with my dog, and my wife joins me occasionally. So far, we're only on day 2 of this 10-day stretch of being off from work. And yeah, it's been nice to kind of feed my brain with other stuff besides, day-to-day business, day job stuff. It's hard to shut off. It's just hard. Other people say, oh, it's easy, just turn off everything. And I'm like, man, I don't know, man. There's a lot of responsibilities with my job, so I got to keep, numbers up and keep people motivated. I run a team, so I got to keep up on everything. It's a lot of, I don't want to let everybody down. So I don't mind if other people live like that. Like they turn off their work and live their lives. Good for them. I turn off my work and I come and do this, This is what I like to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It does seem like the country is going to be in the United States, by the way, in case you're somewhere else. But it seems like the country is wanting to come roaring back. Everybody seems to be wanting to go out and do things. And most people are, I think half of adults in the United States are now vaccinated. And that's a relief, man. I mean, you got to be careful out there. But I was able to go out with some friends from work and actually have a couple beers and enjoy life a little bit. And it just felt like, man, it's really missing that aspect of life. I mentioned it in another stream too, that I just observe things all the time when I'm out. I'm always looking at things and hearing, listening, eavesdropping on conversations, I guess. So I like to hear dialogue. I like to hear people talking, and that's probably been one of the worst things about this whole thing for me, is that I just can't observe or listen, and I'd like rely on TV or something like that to get that kind of stimulation for my brain. I don't like that. Yeah. Hi, Sean. And then I didn't have a set schedule to do these streams. I'm not a YouTuber, I don't know if you noticed or not. But I missed, my Monday and my Wednesday and Saturday. I missed it. And I had a couple people notice. And I was like, shit, now I feel like I'm letting people down or something. I'm like, God, guys, forgive me. Did I put a mask on this girl? I did. Okay. Yeah, so then I just started to feel like I was letting people down. I'm not doing this to entertain anyone, really. Keep myself company and motivated. But I'm grateful for the people that have been watching and saying nice things. It's nice. But it also kind of adds some sort of weird pressure to it. Like, I feel like I'm letting people down, and that sucks. I got to get that out of that's only in my own head, It's good to be missed, I guess. But it also makes me go, damn, people are actually watching this and expecting to see it again, I guess. And me, I'm just thinking it'd be cool that when this book is done, there will be a majority of it streamed live. And then when I'm long gone, maybe my grandkids or, people can watch it and go, wow, look at that. You can hear him babbling about shit while he's working. And I must say, the way I write, I have a loose plot in my mind. I know where I want the story to go, kind of, but I don't want to say I make it up as I go, but this story especially, there's been a couple points where I'm like, I thought of something new. And I'm like, okay, I think I can fit that in there. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, DJ, there's too much going on here. Chill out a little bit. But like the addition of the Indian ghosts and stuff, I just like that. I'm like, I want to do that. So I'm excited. And then I found out that one of my favorite writers, Larry Hama from G.I. Joe. He said it in the past, but even most recently, people were upset about Snake Eyes and the continuity and all that. And they're like, oh, this isn't the comic book continuity. And he's like, calm down. I was making up G.I. Joe as I went along, page by page. And I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. Like, that's cool. Like, to me, I think that's like playing, it's a play time. These are not the most exciting things to watch, I'm sure, drawing wise. I'm inking a door, And I'm really down on myself about it. Like, I should have had this page done, 2 weeks ago now. But the best laid plans, at least I'm here now doing it, So I could be on the couch and just, everybody told me, like, a lot of people told me, do nothing. Just don't work. And I'm like, well, I might draw some comics. No, don't work. Just do nothing. Just relax. I don't think my brain is capable of that. Because I would just be sitting on the couch or wherever thinking about drawing. Like, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, that'd be neat. I got a couple cool ideas while I was relaxing and recuperating about things I could show, tips, like tricks, things that aren't often shared by comic artists, or they're embarrassed to share them, like how they get reference from movies. And I was watching, I was just flipping through TV mindlessly again. I think it was the night that my mouth was numb from the dentist. And there was Gone in 60 Seconds was on, that pretty terrible movie with Nicolas Cage. But I was watching the movie differently and going like, oh, there's a lot of car chases and a lot of cool cars. And then I started looking at the characters that they have, like these actors, and some of them are just like over the top. It just looks like a comic book. Like, looks like someone just made these, of course someone made these characters up. And if you ever go back and look at Gone in 60 Seconds, it's pretty ridiculous. It's just, and I was thinking I could use this as my example of showing artists how to use a movie and see the scenes and stuff, because the cinematography and the scene setup of that movie is very interesting. So I found myself watching Gone in 60 Seconds and actually observing how the cinematographer set up scenes and stuff like that. And it's fun. So that's how I'm always watching TV and movies. I'm thinking about comic books constantly. And I usually have a knack for also figuring out how the movie's going to end. Before, I'm oh, I see what they're doing here. They're setting this up. So, just ruin it for. It's not really ruin it for myself, but I got to keep it to myself. I can't say it out loud. Ruin it for my wife. I figured out oh shit, that new movie by the guy that did Inception. What the hell is it called? My brain's Tenet. I figured out Tenet in 10 minutes. I'm oh, I see what's happening here. I'm sure other people, it's not like I'm a genius or anything. I'm just watching movies in a different way, I guess. It's hard to shut that off too. Okay, so one more skyline there. Okay. Missing some window things here. It's amazing how many times you can make, I think I had pretty good excuses for not drawing, to be honest. Root canal and really busy working, day job, plus taking those days off, knowing that I was going to have a week off. I really had to make sure some things were covered. I was also finishing up that course, and I'm glad that's done. That was a lot of extra time added to my days. My brain power was just zapped, but really it's just excuses like anything. It's just like exercising. You make excuses for not exercising. Just put a little more detail. I got a knot noodle, but I'm using this time to loosen up my hand a little bit too. So I'll put some sort of little sign in there. I can do the rest in color, I think. Put there for her face. And then my wife was saying too, she's like, you don't need to talk. You could just turn the camera on and just not talk. And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. But there's no music. I don't know. I could put the mute on and then put music on is what I'll probably do. But people have been listening to my banter, I guess. So, but I'm thinking instead of doing like really super long 5-hour streams, what I might do is just put the camera on every night, 8 to 10, whatever page I happen to be working on is what you would be able to see. Oh shoot, I forgot. I want to put something here, so I'm just going to mark this. Good old newspaper lines, like right. Okay. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to work on these faces. Anyways, I kind of challenged now because 22 pages, I have like so much story now, and I'm like, I want to do this, and I'd like to do this scene and that scene, but I got to stick to the point of I just wanted to make a nice, fun, compact, 22 page issue. So it's not that I'm going to pickle or anything. I'll figure it out. It's just there's some things that I wanted to cover that I don't think that I'm going to be able to do in 22 pages. So, yeah. Also, his face looks way too long. So let's just fix that up. Let's see here. Yeah, story-wise here, this guy's just trying to take a couple days off and trying to enjoy a weekend. And nope, he's going to get the call to go to work in a little bit, in a couple panels here. Good. Yeah, it's pretty humbling though to hear from people. It's nice to hear. I don't understand it, but I'll take it. Just the people saying thanks. I've helped motivate them to start their comics or work on their comics, even though we're all making excuses. Day job, too tired, and why bother? So that's another thing I heard. Someone said, I'm not going to call them out, but they're like, why would I work on something for so long if only like 3 people are going to, I'm like, well, do you want to do it though? Yeah. Well, then that should be your motivation. What do you, did you set out to be like, I want to have a lot of readers? Well, that's probably not the best way to start something. Like, I want to be a superstar. So you gotta really work on it. So the one thing I said to my friend who's been not drawing was, how many more days are you not going to draw, man? You know, a week turns into a month, and a month turns into a year, and you're still just going, maybe someday I'll do that. No, I didn't. I shouldn't do that. I can take care of all that in the coloring stage. So, oh well, I'm still figuring out the layout. I'm still figuring out the story. You know, those excuses. Like, well, I'm not ready yet. When I get ready, if you're waiting for like this perfect time to start something, it's just never going to come, man. You got to get in there. Just get in there. Just get in there and start. Whatever it is. Doesn't have to be comics. You know. You should be smiling more here. And I saw conventions were back too. There's a lot of comic conventions now saying that they're going to start up again. And Three Rivers Comic Con was just this weekend outside. I wanted to go down, but I'm just not feeling very comfortable right now. It's farther away for me too. It's about an hour drive, and I had some stuff to take care of around the house. But I'm glad that it seemed to go well. I saw the pictures from the Comic Con this weekend, and it seemed like people had some fun. You know, I don't know how well it did sales wise, but hey, it's better than nothing. So I got friends that were decimated when the conventions quit because of COVID. They put all their eggs in that basket. You know, you got to diversify. Mm-hmm. Make that into smoke later. Yeah, it's easy to think, I don't know, why bother? Oh, why bother making a comic, or why bother doing a music thing or whatever you're doing? But you got to psych yourself up, you know? I was coloring a page yesterday and I was like feeling good about it. I'm like, this is gonna be sick. This looks awesome. Not to toot your own horn or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, you got to visualize the end goal. Like, it's going to be nice when this is in print and I'm able to mail it directly to people's houses and maybe put a little note in there. And, it's going to be a nice looking book and fun. So, okay. So you have to kind of think about the end goal and visualize what you want. And to me, with this, I just kind of wanted to have a standalone comic. I don't know if I'm going to be able to achieve that or not, but as far as it's standalone, there might be like a continuing story. We'll see. But yeah, I've been finding all kinds of ways to distract myself from drawing. So another guy I was talking to said that when he was thinking about his whole project, like I said, like thinking about the end goal, that it was just all too overwhelming to think about doing all himself. He wished he had a team. And I'm like, I get it. It would be way easier to do this if I just had pencils to do or something like that. But I was like, well, you got to think about the end goal. And he was like, well, it's just too overwhelming. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It is. It's a little overwhelming to think about all the pages and things you got to do yourself. But you just do one thing at a time, one page at a time. Just one page at a time, one panel at a time. Don't overthink it. Don't be like, this sucks. Like, unless you see, if you see like something that you're messing up, you can probably fix it. I haven't been a fan of these eyes. I think looks like I had trouble here. I don't know. It's another thing too about like drawing a page a couple weeks ago and then revisiting it. That sucks because I can't remember looks like I was like, should I put glasses on this girl or not? I think I chose to put glasses on her at the end and a mask. So now going back and revisiting it, I think slows me down a little bit because I'm like, wait, what was I doing here with this face? Or just trying to make her look different. She's only in this panel. She's only in the book for like what? Two panels. Jesus. Why am I even thinking about that so much? But you never know. I mean, maybe this character will come back to this cafe to try to enjoy his day off after the adventure's over. And she'll be waiting there for him. Like she said. So gotta put a little care into it, I guess. You can't just be like drawing generic people. But yeah, one step at a time. So how do you eat an elephant? That's what they say. One bite at a time. Oh, come on. the rest of that can be color because it's going to be a window back here. So that's the window that's here from a different angle. So you got to think about, you're always thinking about turning and angles and stuff. Almost like your eye is a camera, right? All right, I think my hands are loosened up enough now that I could do these balloons. I'll turn those back on. Because it would be nice to fill those in. Just a little small talk happening here. Oops. Although it's funny because small talk's always the same. What do you do for a living? Look at that. I recently went to a little surprise get together for my wife's boss, who's been in her job for 10 years. And well, number one, it was nice to be around people. Whoa, what's going on here? Come back. It was nice to be around people, but it's a strange feeling to be out amongst people now. Strange. I didn't stay long. I think that if it's not my people, I don't know. It's just hard for me to. I feel like maybe a little anxiety or something, or I just feel like the wallflower, like I'm out of place. I think I've probably always felt like that in some way at events like that. There's board members and people that I don't really know. I know of them. I know who they are, and I've met them before. But I'm just kind of there to support. I know Jessica. But it's funny, this guy pops up out of nowhere. And I know his name because I hear them talking about him when I've seen him at events. His name is Lynn. Lynn pops out of a doorway, and I'm just kind of chilling in a corner, kind of by myself. That's where you're usually going to find me, in like a corner, chilling out, having a drink or something, and observing, right? And Lynn pops out, and he goes, "Hi there." And I was like, that's the first time he's ever spoken to me, I think. And I'm like, "Hi, Lynn." And then he looked surprised that I knew who he was. And because I thought maybe he knows who I am. Like maybe he knows I'm Alicia's husband. I don't know. Oh, shit. And, oh, wait. Got a phone call. Gotta mute this. Had to take a call. It's my wife. She can sense that I'm talking about her. Or talking about. No, she's out running around. Get some tools. got to repair a faucet outside. And, these are all things that no one gives a shit. I know you don't care, but strangers. But back to her party. Lynn pops out of nowhere, and he's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey, Lynn," and he looks surprised, and I'm like, and he goes, he's pointing around. He's like, "You know all these people?" I'm like, but yeah, I know, yeah, I know some of them. And then he's like, I'm like, yeah, so I'm just off work, so I just come out and support say support Jessica. And he goes, "What do you do for a living?" That's really hard to explain, but I just say, "Well, I work at a print-on-demand software company where we actually print the products on demand for a lot of creators and comic book, or musicians and podcasts and a lot of YouTubers and anybody with an audience." And he's like, "How did you get involved in something like that?" Well, so it's just small talk. This is like, wow, okay. So I was trying to go there to not talk about work. So, and as a matter of fact, I got sort of invited out to a dinner after that, but then I said no. Told my wife I didn't want to go because at first I was going to go, and she was like, "Okay," and I'm like, "Do you want me to go? It doesn't sound like you want me to go." And she's like, "Well, the couple distillers will be there, the Distillers Guild person." And I'm like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I don't want to be the center of conversation. Because people are like, "Oh, you draw comics, or you have a cool job. Let's talk about you for an hour." And I'm like, these people should talk about, oh man, what am I doing here? These people should, my wife should have the time to talk to these out of town whiskey people. That's her zone, and I don't want to be taking up that conversation because that will happen. I don't know why. It just does. People just, "Oh, you draw comics. Tell me about that," which is cool. I don't mind, but she was like, "Wow, that's really thoughtful of you that you didn't want to go." But anyways, I'm standing there with Lynn, and he goes, "How did you get involved in that shirt company?" I gotta fine tune this pitch because I'm not expecting it. I'm not expecting to be interrogated. How did this happen? And well, so then if I tell the truth, it's a long story, but I go, well, I was running a roller derby league with my ex-wife, and I met the guy. His wife at the time was in roller derby. I was running the entire league, as far as the marketing and the tickets and the dues collecting and the managing of the skaters. They called me the secretary of skate. It was fun. And, doing all the shirt designs and merch designs. And this dude, Zach, he just got a job at Spreadshirt, and he was running their plant. He's like, "Hey, man, there's a job opening at where I work, and they need a supervisor for the team. It would be a sweet gig for you." And I'm like, I didn't really want to work for anyone ever again. But the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I'm tired of chasing down money and stuff like that from people. So anyways, I got that. The roller derby part I need to cut out of that story because that just leads into another, oh, and he's like, "Oh, I heard about the roller derby the other day. Whoa." I'm like, it's not the most, I met I met my current wife in roller derby league because she was my friend. And, but that was a kind of tough. I don't care about it now, but I helped build up this league. And then I got kind of forced out of it. The real story about it just sucks. So I don't like to talk about it too much. Now I don't care, but I just feel like that part can be erased from that story. I could just say, I met this guy. He was the plant manager. He knew I was awesome. And that's the end of that story. But anyways, Lynn goes, oh, because I had already heard this story. My wife said that she had mentioned roller derby to him the other day, and he was fascinated with it because roller derby back in the day used to be kind of fake, like wrestling, like or something. And they used to beat each other up. And now it's more of like a real sport. It is a real sport now. And but in his mind, he's an old man, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the old school roller derby. Those girls would beat each other up just like wrestling." And like, yep. But so he leans over to me and he goes, I heard about that roller derby thing. I was like, yeah, I must have looked a little sheepish about it. Like, oh yeah, I don't want to talk about roller derby, but it is what it is. And he's like, don't be ashamed of roller derby. I'm a big professional wrestling fan. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. And then I was only there for like 20 minutes. My son messages me, Dylan, and he goes, hey, we're going to go to All Saints in Greensburg to have some beers outside and eat the pizza truck. And I'm like, yes, I will join you for that. Because I decided not to go to the dinner. So I was like, I also needed to go back to where, close by that brewery, and because I left my drive at work. And but I was out. I was like, okay, peacing out. I just felt really good people. Everybody's really good, but I just don't know them. I just feel out of place. Kind of just feel out of place everywhere. It's a weird feeling. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I have a little bit of social anxiety, and I think the pandemic didn't help it either. Because now I'm just kind of on guard, Gotta stay away from people, and now it's like everybody wants to come out together again, and I'm all for it, but I'm also very like, I don't know, I'm just really. Hey, look, there's Dylan. Hello, son. I was just telling the Lynn Lehman story. So. Yeah, those are all good people. But just probably not my vibe, Not my vibe. I get it, though. I get the whole nonprofit thing. I get that crowd. I get board of directors. I get corporate business. I mean, I work at a big business. I get all that. I understand it. I can roll in that. I worked in the nonprofit field for a little while there. People might not know that, but I did that. And I don't know. Maybe my experience with nonprofits was a little bit different than what goes on around here. I don't know. This guy's eyes messed up. That's all I know right now. I'm going to erase it. I'll jack that up. Janked. Boom. All right. So, yeah. Oh, I don't know what I did with this face, but I'm overthinking it. Overthinking it. Yeah, but if I start doing some nightly streams, I might not talk as much. I might put some music on. And since the YouTube will kick me off, I guess I might just put my headphones in and have it on mute. But at least there'll still be, I can maybe pop in to answer some questions or something. But it's nice to draw with music on. That's what I did on the couch yesterday. I drew all day, worked on those pages, worked on some template stuff, and basically my goal for this week was to pretend that I'm a full-time comic book artist, guys. Just pretend. I'll play pretend. Try and get as much done as possible. All right. Man, I am doing a really bad job at this distance of the nose thing. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to fix it right now, though. I was not good at that recently. Really long-ass faces. Come on, man. Just like tuck it up like that. There we go. You know, I hope if you see something like that, you say something. Say, DJ, that face looks jacked. Fix that. Fix that dude's face, man. And I'll go, thank you. Fix it. Now it looks like he has a giant chin, like, hello. Hello. You can't do that on Bristol board. You can't just draw a different chin. To hell with you. Neal Adams. No. Let's talk some shit on Neal Adams right now. I got some Neal Adams stories for you. I was thinking about Neal Adams because Neal Adams, super talent, man. Batman, I mean, Jesus. Neal Adams, like a living legend of comic books, but he's kind of a pompous dude sometimes. I watched a YouTube video yesterday that got served to me with Neal Adams showing kids how to hold their brush. And it was just like cringy. I don't know. Look it up. It's on YouTube here. Neal Adams showing kids how to hold their brush, calling us Americans gorillas because you're supposed to hold your brush like this with the pads of your fingers. Right? Most people, this is how I hold my brush or my pencil, right, like that, right? And he's like, "Oh no, that's wrong." And I'm like, "Dang, Neal Adams, you're coming with some fire at these kids." I think I can probably pull it up and watch it live and just get like a reaction video of me going, "What the fuck, Neal Adams? You just tried like, oh, you're wrong. You're wrong." And one of the kids asked something about digital, and he says basically something like, "I'd be stupid to do digital. I'd never draw digital." You know. And he says why? It's because he's like, DC Comics paid me $1,000 to draw this page, and now I can sell this page for $10,000. Cool. He's right. He goes, so I would be a fool to draw. Okay. Got it. But to basically, you're telling these kids that there's only one way of doing something. This is the proper way to hold a brush. This is the proper way. This digital is stupid, kids. And I'm looking at some of these kids' faces, and they're just looking at him like, who is this old guy? Who is this old dude? I'm like, well, that's Neal Adams. He's kind of a legendary comic artist. His Batman looks a little stiff, though, I gotta say. Not my favorite Batman, Neal Adams. I know that's what you're famous for, but sorry, fella. It's stiff, you know, your artwork's stiff. It's a little outdated. I like my art. I like my comic books cartoony guy. All right, fella. No, I like Neal Adams. I got a good story about Neal Adams. I would see him at Wizard World Comic Cons. And, you know, most artists, they're rolling in right at the minute to set up their tables for the day or whatever, Artist Alley. Oh, but Neal Adams' booth, you know when he's there because he's got this giant sign with his name really big. Got big ego, that guy. But nice, super nice guy, though. Super nice guy. But ego. But every day that I would think I would get there early. I'd be like, I got to get there early, set up, get ready, prime myself. And there would be nobody else, almost nobody else on the con floor. And Neal Adams would have his board out and he would be sitting there drawing like he never left. Whatever, commissions, whatever he was doing, showing kids how to not, you know, draw. I don't know. But his discipline, whoo-wee, got me beat. I was like, I'm getting here early. I'm like, oh, there's Neal Adams. He's already at his table and he's already cranking out a freaking commission. And, you know, he's businessman. He's a businessman. Ain't no fucking around with Neal Adams, man. But I'm like, lighten up a little bit, guy, on the kids. Don't be telling them they're gorillas. He was saying that because I guess he was doing an accent. I think it was a Japanese accent. He's like, I'm about to do an accent, and I know you're not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm like, yeah, probably not the coolest. We'll forgive you, Grandpa. I can't believe I'm trashing Neal Adams right now on this stream. But, you know, I was watching. I was like, maybe he'll say something and I'll learn something. Maybe I'll try to do that whole, you know, drawing with the pads of your fingers thing. I don't know. Fucking Eric Larson holds his hand like this. No shit. Like he draws with like this. What would Neal Adams think of that? He draws like a fist. Eric Larson. Anyways. It was funny. It was funny to watch him really hard on these kids. Don't draw digital. You're an idiot if you do that. But I mean, the reality, kids. If I'm teaching your class right now, kids. All right, DJ's in session right now. The reality is, those days are kind of gone. All right? DC Comics is not going to pay you $1,000. It's like the NFL. The reality is you're not going to become a DC Comics rock star. And probably DC Comics is probably not going to exist pretty soon. I don't know if anybody's heard the news. But Warner Brothers is like teetering on nothingness. They've already had cuts. You know, sure, there will always be Batman. But there's not going to be $1,000 pages for Batman unless you're not even Neal Adams anymore. You know, like Jim Lee, maybe. I don't know. But you know, you can see his point that you can sell these originals for prices. Well, guess what, Neal Adams? Let me tell you about this thing called NFTs. And that's where digital art's going, is that your digital pages can be now collectibles. And it sounds bananas, right? And there's a lot of environmental concerns and all that stuff with NFTs. But what NFTs will allow... Okay, so here's what... I got to explain NFTs to you guys. Because it's really confusing. People don't know. And I actually messed around with it a little bit. I wasted some money on NFT. I minted my own NFT. All right, let me pull up another layer here. So I'm going to teach a lesson real quick about what an NFT is. We're going to go to purple. That's my teaching color. All right. We're going to do it right on this guy's watch. So NFT is a non-fungible token. But basically, let's just say, pretend that it's a digital collectible. That's the best way of thinking about it. Okay. Now, say I have a comic page and I mint it. Comic page. That's what I'm going to make. I'm going to make my comic page into my NFT. I'm going to mint it. Mint means that you pay, whatever the going rate is for the power through that tool, right? So sometimes it's like $75 to mint something. Sometimes it's $100. You've minted it. You've given it a goal, and you said that there's one of a kind. You can set it to one of a kind. Or you can say that I have 10,000 of them. There's only 10,000 available. They'll each have their own number, assigned on the blockchain. Okay, that's a whole other thing. But blockchain, just think of it as forever, right? There's no fooling around. There's a history on blockchain. It's totally like secure. It's not going to be whatever. And this is why this is better than I sold my original for $10,000, right? So the cool thing about NFTs are, if you were to mint your comic book page, when you're minting it at the minting stage, okay, we're going to do this playbook. At the minting stage, you can say, anytime this is sold in the future, I want to make 15%. Okay. That means that when that page is resold to a collector, that money comes back to your crypto wallet. This sounds crazy. I know, right? But your crypto wallet is basically your bank account. Okay. So good old Neal Adams sold that page $10,000. He only sold it once. But since he's Neal Adams could have had a $10,000 NFT, and then that collector gets it. He sells it for 20 grand, right? 20,000. And the collector made some cash, but the creator, Neal Adams, gets 15% for life from that NFT. That's why he's now wrong about now, when he said this, I think last year, NFTs weren't really a known thing, but it solves the problem that Neal Adams was saying, that digital art is stupid. Well, no, actually it's pretty smart. You're going to save time. You're saving time, which is the most valuable resource, right? But also, if you're smart and if you are a famous person, like a Neal Adams or a Todd McFarlane or whatever, not a DJ Kaufman. I don't think anybody's going to want my NFT. But there is one. I minted the Secret Forces symbol thing. I just was testing it. But in the end, from my experience, I'm not ready for this, number one, because I feel like you need to have an audience, like a real audience that's into that understands it. So unless you're already have a fan base or you're already into that scene, it's going to be really tough for you to transition to that. It's probably going to take another 5 years for it to be kind of a known thing. Right? It's not hard to understand. And it is way better than just a paper product. You can connect it to your paper product too. When you can sell that digital art and say, this comes with the actual physical art. This purchase, this is where you buy it. It's official, almost like a certificate of authenticity. And then anytime it's resold, you're getting that percentage. That's pretty sweet. That's why creators are so excited about it. But on the flip side, there's an environmental problem with NFTs right now, because it sounds crazy, but Bitcurrency and cryptocurrency takes money or takes energy to mint, to make that Bitcoin. It takes actual computer processing power, and the processors are taking a lot of energy to run. So now there's a shortage of these chips that are usually used in like graphics processors for computers and cars. And it's bad for the environment. So it's quite a pickle for artists, because you want to be, oh yeah, now artists are like, mint everything, but let's save the planet. But wait, as soon as you point out that, well, actually, Bitcoin is not good for the environment right now, then they ignore that. But how ironic would it be that artists might destroy the environment more? It's just bad. They're going to figure it out, though. They'll figure out a better way to make them green. But we're still probably 10 years out from that. It's going to be a thing. It's not going to go away. It's a hype thing right now, but so was Bitcoins, okay, back in 2013 or something. And I told my wife about it. I was like, hey, so I got this, I can buy this Bitcoin thing. And I gave her the thing and a number, and I think, like, I don't even know if I purchased some. I just lost the key. I don't know. But if I would have invested in that back then, holy crap. It's crazy. It's crazy. What kind of world are we living in? Well, I gotta tell you, I'm just making the point that Neal Adams was wrong. He might not have known it at the time when he said that, because it wasn't a thing. But there's not one way of doing things. I think there's even some like philosophy about that, right? Like, if a person says that there's only one way, if they know everything, they know nothing, right? Can't believe I hot trash Neal Adams. Who am I? I'm getting so many phone calls today. Unless it's my wife or my son, I don't want to talk to you. Probably never going to answer my phone. Sorry. All right, cool. We're getting through this. 1 hour. I'm just going to put heavy shadow underneath this. Shit here. Do it again here. Just because. This mask probably isn't necessary, but whatever. I think waitresses and stuff, are going to be wearing masks for a while. And it kind of sets the date for when this comic takes place, I guess. I don't even know if I'm going to go back to conventions or anything like that. I don't know. I don't really dig it. I'm just not into it. I like this. I like being able to just work directly on the internet. And when the book is done, I'm going to put it out directly to people. My patrons that are loyal patrons, they're going to get everything first. Hook them up. I've been thinking, though, I've been using Gumroad for those brushes. And for my brushes and templates, I've been using Gumroad for a long time. digital products. And I have Gumroad Pro, so I pay a little bit a month to do it. And there's some membership features on Gumroad that I've never messed with. But it allows you to send messages, emails to your mailing list of people that have either signed up for a product or bought a product or downloaded a free brush or something like that. And you can set up workflows so that it's like, oh, they get this email. Like right now, if somebody downloads the free brush, the Blackwing brush that I made for free, pencil brush, I think 2 days later, they get an email saying, hey, come check out the YouTube channel. So it's just like kind of like marketing 101, I guess. You want to build a list and then add value to it. So the brushes and the streams go together really well because I can tell those people that bought the brushes, hey, if you want to see these brushes in action, now I've got hours and hours and hours of video of me using them. Right. But I was thinking about I'm always thinking about distribution of comics. And for a while, me and I think I talked to Jim Rugg about this too, Street Angel Jim Rugg. And we were thinking about email comics, like email subscription, like just like you subscribe to a newsletter, but it gets expensive after a while. If you get up to over 1,000 people that's getting your image emailed every day, you can end up in spam boxes and all that. I just don't know. It's just the pricing gets a little tricky after it scales up. And then if it's a free comic, then it doesn't make sense because you have 10,000 people downloading your comic for free every day and you're spending, you're not covering your costs. So Gumroad, though, has the unlimited messaging, which seems like a pretty good deal. And I thought maybe if I set up, I'm not doing it with this book, but if I would have done back when I was doing my comic strip, maybe that's how I'd put out a comic strip, like a daily or weekly comic. You just subscribe to it, either free or pay what you want. Then you're on the mailing list, and it wouldn't pester you with anything, but you don't want to spam people. But when there is a product available or something, then it'd be easy there's your fan base right there reading your comic and following along. I like that idea. I think that I would sign up for a comic that was like that. So I'm thinking about it. We'll see. I can't do it for a long time because we're going to see how this book goes here. And then I'll decide my next move, whatever I want to do next. Maybe I'll just enjoy drawing the pages so much I won't want to go back to like a comic strip. But I enjoy these pages, but I really like that. I just feel like this pull for me to draw daily comic strips. I feel like I was built to do it. So I have a real bad desire to do it. My wife will be like, no, it's crazy, don't do it. But I'm like, YOLO. There's a D. Hausner. How's it going? It's going good, man. It's going good. Took a week off of work. Here I am, drawing comics. My favorite thing to do. on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm not in meetings. That's a win. That's a win. But yeah, talking about using the Gumroad thing for my comic. You know what? I can't remember. Oh my God. I'm going to look at something real quick. So I did this symbol and I think I just messed it up. So I'm going to go back. Take a look. It probably appears in this week. There it is. Come on. It's on the floor. That's 3. 1, 2, 3. No. It's on a coin. There it is. That's the best one. Oh, okay. I did change it. Can just go ahead and snapshot that. Well, good. Couldn't go back. It's a nice thing too, just to have all these. It's another thing about digital is having access to all of the files in one spot. So if I got to go back and reference something, then I can just pull up my. I've drawn this symbol differently a couple times. That's why I knew. I was like, wait, I got to make sure it's continuity here. Library. Let's do this. Right. Okay. Cool. Right. That's even easier. I used to have it like this with the lines coming through when I did it a long time ago. But now I made it into a more bold shape. Symbol of Atlantis. It's funny. Just scene's very cliche. It's like Dick Tracy or something where he gets a little call on his watch. Alert. Red alert. And the symbol of the team is on the watch. I'll do that in color, but Yes. Perfect. Yeah, it's fun to talk free flow thought while I'm working. I don't need to do that. Look, I'm hashing. I don't need to do that. I'm also on the wrong layer, as it appears. Uh-oh. No. Not a problem. Just going to see which. I accidentally drew the faces on the balloon layer. Not a problem, though. Go in here. Let's get this out. Three-finger swipe. I'm going to go to cut. Cut and paste. Now it's on its own layer. Grab her. Cut and paste. Combine these two. Get that off of there. Get back down on where you're supposed to be. Get on there. Up. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, it's fun to think about small talk and then go to Lynn Lehman's story. So just my brain is constantly, going from one place to the next. Where's that? Right on. Oh, something happened there when I merged that. He disappeared. Right? Mm-hmm. That's weird. Try again. Something must have been amiss. I'm going to go ahead and copy her face out. I mean, I could have redrawn this just in a minute. Cut and paste. There we go. Wait a minute, though. Oh, my God. I accidentally just deleted all of that up there, so I got to go way back. Oh, boy. Come back. Oh, man. When did I do it? Oh, God. Oh, okay. Whoa. That would have really sucked if I would have lost all that inking. Can't do that on Bristol board. Okay, so all I was trying to do was fix that part. So I'm just going to go ahead. You know what? I'm just going to play it safe. I'm just going to get all this. Cut and paste. Nope, that didn't do it either. Huh. Back it up. Turn that off. I'm having a layer confusion here. I accidentally inked those on the wrong layer. Just this part of the face. Tedious. All right, now I got to turn this layer back on. If I merged it when it was transparent, that's why the top inks disappeared. So now we did it. We did it. Except that this balloon is not closed. Now it is. Great. Stay on the ink layer, DJ. All right, cool. So that'll be a little flashy. Fix that. Oh boy. Hmm. Man. So now I put accidentally these balloons on this layer. Jesus. Guys. I guess that's the danger of talking while you're drawing. Going too fast. All fixable though. Just takes a little time. Come on. Right on. Just trying to fill these in white. I should have done that from the start. But that's okay. I can fix it while I go. Right? Okay, good. All right. Another face right there I don't like. Probably fix that. And now that the freaking balloons are right, get back down these inks and I can just block in my blacks. I'll show you. Just block in these blacks. So now I'm drawing behind it. Just going to go ahead and just do it. All right. Okay. Oh. Okay. Don't need that anymore. I think most of this could be black down here. So there's probably just like a little bit of silhouettes. No. He's kind of turned his body away. It's all underneath the table, so you don't need to spend much time, or you can save a lot of time by just going ahead and fixing that, blocking it out. Whoop, nope. Got to make sure the lines are closed before you do that. Right? Same thing on the chair. Yeah, we'll see tomorrow. I might just Tomorrow I might just get up early and throw the stream on. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Gotta stop being too hard on myself. So oftentimes they say the little voice in your head, that tells you, why bother or whatever. It's lying to you. It's what Stephen Pressfield called the resistance for artists. Let's put his paper down. Nope. That also the resistance can be anything in your life. But you got to have a balance, because you can't become too obsessed with a thing, because then you could ruin your friends and family and all that shit. I was watching a video yesterday that I kind of relate to, I guess, a little bit from back in the day. But it was Casey Neistat, famous YouTuber guy. He was talking about how it was on the Steve O podcast, which I found myself watching. It was actually a very, very good podcast. And Casey said that he got so obsessed with his daily vlogging that it just overtook his life. And his days were structured to a certain way. And, especially when he first started, his friends would say, like, hey, come out and get lunch. And he would think about it and be like, ooh, wait, I got to point a camera at you because this is my vlog. I don't want to do that. So he'd just say no. He kept saying no to all of his friends, and he became obsessed. And the more he did post and the more that he worked, the more successful he got. And the more success he got, the more controlling of his time, to where he almost felt like insulted when a friend would ask him out to dinner or drinks. Come out and have some drinks with us. And he said something like he was like offended, like mad, like, are they crazy? I'll fuck this up if I go out and have a drink, then I won't be able to edit my videos tonight, and then they're gonna mess up my whole thing. Don't they respect me? Right, that was kind of his. But looking back, he knew that he was just being crazy with himself. Crazy. And I've been there with comic book deadlines and stuff in the past, or art deadlines I was working on, freelance days, where I felt like, man, I'm hustling to make things happen. I don't have time for this shit. I don't have time for lollygagging around, But I don't know. It was just interesting to hear another artist talk about it that way. But I think now, when you get older, you have to find a way to balance that, or else it'll consume you. And then removing situations and people from your life. Like, that's another thing too. I just realized that he was saying he doesn't get on airplanes. And it's not because he has a fear of flying. He used to fly all over the place, Casey Neistat. But recently, and it's not about COVID either, it's more about other people on the plane. If he's trapped in a plane with people that are going to be dicks to each other or like start a fight, he doesn't want to be in the vicinity of that. So he's avoiding Not avoiding the confrontation, but just avoiding the crazy people. This country got a little weird. And he just cuts any kind of negativity out of his life like that. Kind of understand that. I keep my circle pretty small. Pretty small these days. I learned that lesson real fast through comics. When a lot of people wanted to be my friend. Whenever I even had a small percentage of success. But then the minute my money went away, or my connections or whatever, those people just kind of stopped talking to me. Unless I had something for them to win. That sucks. It sucks. So you don't know who's really your friend and who's not. So I've got a very select few people that I consider friends, that I know that supported me whenever I had nothing, and supported me whenever I had things, and still are cool and help me get through things. In the past, I have a really small circle of people. Even after the comic thing, you instantly, we went from having like no friends to having like 100 friends. Like seriously, like 100 people that wanted to do things all the time. Like running the roller derby league. That's just crazy. It's just crazy. And then drama kicks off, and I'm like, man, they always say more money, more problems. I'm like, more people, more problems. so people just are weird. Can't people just be cool? But everybody's out to get theirs, I guess. That's bad. That sucks. That sucks. That's life. So don't be that way. Don't be that way. So now, for me personally, if a friend, one of my very few friends, or my son, or whatever, gets a hold of me and says, hey, you want to go for a beer or something? I'm like, yes. Unless I'm in the middle if I am in the middle of doing something I already planned, well then all right, I can't. I made plans. But this stuff can wait. If this were a paying job or something like that, I would set it aside and set that other stuff aside. But so the more experience, I don't know, as a comic artist, you want to sit and draw all day, right? But the more real life experiences you have, the better a writer and creator you become. And I guess you can get a lot of that out of just playing pretend and listening to podcasts and listening to other people's stories and just kind of using your imagination. But there's something to be said for actually like having some experiences. And you're not going to have those experiences if you're just sitting locked up in your goddamn house. Right? You got to get out. Got to get out there. My first trip to Germany, I was mortified inside. I didn't have a passport. Never left this country before. And I was feeling like, wow, what a cool thing, but I don't want to go because I'm afraid, or I've got anxiety, or I don't have time. And it was, no, I'm just not a world traveler, that's for sure. But the second time I went, third time I went, it's much more chill. But I feel like I had those experiences now, And I'm doing the same thing that I do when I'm here. I'm out observing things, and I'm looking at how their buildings are made. And I could see that stuff in movies and TV and stuff, but being there in person and kind of feeling it and getting like a firsthand view was interesting to see. This is wrong. This is wrong. Fix it. So I've definitely grown a little bit since even the past couple of years of, having to travel for work. I used to travel all over the goddamn place for Comic-Cons. But that was different because you'd go to a place and almost like I talked to a lot of musicians and my friends that are in bands, even big bands and stuff. And they say, yeah, people think it's cool to travel around all these places, but you go to a show, you do a show, you work, and then you leave. You're back on the bus and you're on to the next town. And I was like, I totally understand that, because that's how Comic-Cons are. You're like, suddenly you're in Dallas or something, and you're like, I want to go check this out and that, but you're working all weekend and behind your booth. So you might only have like an evening to go out to dinner or something like that. So you didn't really, I can say I traveled around the country. I wasn't able to enjoy the places that I went. So the next time I get around the country, I'm going to make sure that I enjoy some culture from those places. So deep down in my gut, I have this desire to like get an RV and just drive around for a month or two. I keep saying I want to do it, but I don't know. I'm going to have to do like flexi work or something to be able to afford that time off. Be like, hey guys, I'm in meetings and I'm working on the evenings, but during the day I'm driving through Tennessee or Oklahoma, or I'm in the Grand Canyon today, streaming live from the Grand Canyon. Yeah. I think I could do the rest of this in color. Right. I'm probably going to end this stream whenever my wife comes home with food. So do little 2-hour streams here and there. I probably have like another hour of that. Another interesting story I heard yesterday. I was listening to a lot of podcasts yesterday while I was drawing, because I can't do it. I can't do that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convey to you what I heard yesterday when I wasn't streaming and the takeaways from it. So I was listening to the Daily Stoic podcast from Ryan Holiday, and author Sebastian Junger. I'm a big fan of that guy. He did the movie Restrepo, and I can't think of his best friend died in Afghanistan, and they were he was a war reporter and would like get every time there was like action going on. There he was. There's Sebastian. I mean, you can't miss him. He's like this. He also wrote the book The Perfect Storm, about the wave and the boat that capsized, and I think George Clooney was in that movie. But he's a really good writer and observer and just good dude. And I found out recently that he walked through, so I found this out like last year or the year before. He was doing this book for a while, or like a documentary called The Last Patrol. And I think it might be on Amazon Prime. And the cover of it, they're walking right through Scottsdale, this little town I'm in right now. What they did was they walked along the train tracks trying to get all the way to the Jumonville Cross up on the mountains. So in order to get there, they had to like travel the railroads, which were, that's an interesting story too, that the railroads were paths. The railroads were paths of trade, and then they were also Indian trade routes or travel routes. And we built railroads on top of them, but all through here where I live, the Laurel Highlands, Pennsylvania, Fay West area. So yeah, Sebastian Junger did this book or this documentary called The Last Patrol. This was after his friend from Restrepo had gotten killed. It was like his best friend. Like they were tight. Can't remember the guy's name right now, but he was also a photographer, a war photographer, and he got killed. And it really affected Sebastian, and he decided to go with some vets on this thing called the Last Patrol. They were going to walk to the Jumonville Cross, 400 miles. They're going to walk 400 miles up railroad tracks with duffel bags, like they're on patrol, like they're camping out all along the way, and they know it's illegal. You're not allowed to walk along the railroad tracks, so they're avoiding police, the railroad bulls, they call them, railroad police, and they would find a place to camp and eat every night. It just sounded like an adventure, you know. But he is an interesting fella, and I just saw that he was on that podcast, and I listened. It's worth a listen. Daily Stoic podcast with Sebastian Junger, if you want to check it out. But he said he got to the river in Connellsville, and that's when he decided to stop the journey. Like they quit, and crazy shit. Like I guess they got fired. Someone shot at them. And it had to have been right around here. Like they were sleeping underneath an overpass, and somebody bullets over their head. These are soldiers, you know, like these are war reporters and soldiers, and they react differently when bullets are flying over their head, you know. so they knew, well, I'm gonna get out of here. But it's crazy that someone around here fucking shot bullets at them. But it was cool to hear him say the word Connellsville, you know. But like this thing happened to him in Connellsville when he got in the river. Now, that's a crazy river, too, by the way. It's the only river that flows backward or something like that. Or the only river that flows north, something like that. The Youghiogheny River. But when he got in the river and was washing, he realized like he had been avoiding dealing with the death of his friend. And he needed to go back to New York and kind of just face it, you know, deal with his problem. And his life was falling apart at the time. He was going through a divorce, and he was saying all this on this podcast. And it just sounded like, man, this is deep. This is a cool, thoughtful thing. And anyways, he ended up fixing his life and getting remarried and having kids. But he realized that like this running around, you know, doing these adventures when he needed to like deal with what was right in front of him, which was kind of an interesting aspect of it. And then he gets into this crazy, he's like, you know, life is not guaranteed stuff, you know, like he said last year during the pandemic, in the summer, he nearly died. He had like an aneurysm in his pancreatic artery that burst, that he couldn't even feel it. It was bleeding out inside of him, and he said he felt a little abdomen pain, and then suddenly, before he knew it, he was getting lightheaded, and he just passed out. And he's like, I'm not religious or anything like that. He's like an atheist. He's like, I only believe in what I can see and understand, you know. And he goes, but suddenly his father was there and guiding him and like explaining things to him. And he was like, what the heck is happening? And the nurses saved him at the hospital. And he came to and was like, it was so real. He's like, he didn't understand it. He was fascinated by that experience. He was like, he didn't think it was religious, but he's heard about near-death experiences and, you know, loved ones coming to you. And I've read about this too. So some people think that it's you know, your memories, your chemical, like the person that in your mind that your safe, happy place is what appears to you. You've stored it in your memory bank so that when your body knows it's dying, it will send you these comforting memories. That's what scientists think. But, he was like fascinated by this. He was like, I don't know what it was. I don't understand. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in. But it changed him. Just changed him. He's like, yeah. So every day he knows nothing is guaranteed. He was totally healthy, fit dude. Like this guy's bodybuilder and stuff. Like he's a fit dude. And then poof, just something random, take you down. So, yeah. Worth a listen. Daily Stoic podcast with Sebastian Junger. Uh-oh. I think that's my alarm. Let's go see. Hey. Go ahead. Go see. So, I've almost inked the rest of this page. So good times. I might pop back on this evening and color this. So, to check back. Not that I'm just mainly talking to myself here, but I appreciate everyone watching and kind words. My boss even told my boss, Dennis, hey, Dennis. He's like, I watched you on YouTube one day. And I'm like, well, you didn't watch the whole thing. It's like a 5-hour stream. And he's like, oh, I just couldn't stop watching. I think you were inking. I think I was probably inking this page too. How sad is that? I suck. But yeah, it's funny. My boss was like, I popped on there. I'm like, what? Okay, number one, it was probably one of those streams that I was doing at 8 o'clock at night. He's German time. So we're talking, he must have been up at like 2 o'clock in the morning watching me. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it was an earlier stream. I don't know. But I'm like, dude, that guy never sleeps. This was the face I didn't like. Trying to fix it up a little bit. I think this is my 10th stream. I don't know. I lost track. I'm gonna have to go back and check it out. All right, I'm being summoned for food, so I'm gonna go eat. Then I'll be back later. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. There's a sandwich waiting for me downstairs, and I'm gonna go eat that.